What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Watch and Cut channel. I'm your host, Alex, and today, actually, it's not a new knife on the channel, as I've showed the Super Elvia before, but it's going to be a little knife mod video. I haven't done a knife mod video in a while, and I miss doing those, guys. God, I love modding knives. Doesn't everybody love modding knives? So here it is, the Super Elvia. This is the extra large version. They also make a mini and then a standard size. They do come with a wave or without. At the time, this one came without a wave, so I just bought it like so. But this is kind of like the Kahless design where you can, do the reverse hold and hold it like a claw. And that's the whole idea of this thing. I used to make fun of this knife. I still do sometimes, as the broken stop pin knife. If you know knife mechanics, you know what I mean by that. But yeah, this thing's super cool. And it's designed by Ed Calderon, who is a former law enforcement guy. And there's the little logo right there. Kind of indicates how you're supposed to hold it. I added the clip as a secondary option, which will keep the clip, but being that this guy's a Mexican counter-terrorist guy, I had to get some Mexican blanket scales for it, right? So these are, I think it's the G-carta Mexican blanket micarta scales. These are custom made by a guy up in Canada who's also law enforcement, actually, Mr. Kahless Customs. Yes. Damn, I forgot his first name. I don't even think I ever asked his first name. Anyways, this guy's super cool. He was very easy to deal with. He made a beautiful set of scales, and we're about to find out how they fit. Although, to be frank, I asked him to test fit them before he sent them to me, which he did. But it doesn't stop there, because we do have to have a fancy thumb stud. So I went to a go-to for thumb studs for me. It's Gray's Precision. They make a lot of cool little trinkets. So if you want to go on their website, you can. But what he's mostly known for is his monster disc thumb studs. And you can see this one is in dragon skin Damascus. I just figured that would be like kind of a good match for these scales. So yeah, we're going to put that on too. How cool is that? So it's not going to take very long, but yeah, let's get to it. And I do love me some Emerson knives, but I really do wish that, that they would use Torx. So let me get my screwdriver. All right, that's much better. These are pretty nice, by the way. You can find them on Amazon. They're not super expensive, but they ain't cheap either. But then you won't screw up all the other little parts, and you won't strip screws. So that's cool. This thing, you can actually like palm it and kind of like do this by applying pressure to it. So first thing I'm gonna do is remove the clip. A lot of guys with Emerson knives actually go to this company called Steel Flame, which makes pocket clips, like custom ones. But they're really crazy. They have like these 3D machine engraved like lion heads and all kinds of crazy stuff on there. That might be a candidate for this guy. I've also seen him make pivots for the Emerson knife. So you can have a big gaudy like three-dimensional like carved out lion head or something, or gargoyle or whatever it may be on your knife pivot as well. I just didn't think that was like really practical for like something you're gonna kind of carry and like pull out sleekly out of the pocket. So I don't know, but here, let's get these screws out. And then I'm gonna loosen this side. Actually, next I'm gonna do the flathead. Let's do the pivot. can use a flat head. I'm just using something that fits snug in there to loosen up the pivot. There we go. And loosen up these back screws. Anybody else wish that Emerson would use Torx bits? Did I say that already? Yeah, I sound like I'm whining. I don't know, I just, you know, it's so easy to mar these ones, especially if they're black. Anytime you put any of this stuff like that, it's just bound to happen. All right, so we got this guy off. All the screws out, back spacers fell out. All the screws on the other side are falling out. It's perfect. So then, what I like about what he did with these is he actually like contoured them really nice. So it's gonna give the knife a little bit more dimension, if you will. Now I am gonna have to take this pivot completely out to get the other side out, which we'll go ahead and do. And sometimes you can walk the pivot out. Sometimes you can walk the pivot out with a scale, or you can just kind of punch it through. At this point, might as well just take the whole thing apart so we can take a look at it. There's his washers, the famous Emerson washers. What do we got here? That's the stop pin for the liner. I guess that could stay. Out comes the pivot. Off comes the scale. And let's get a look at this thing in a blown up, clean fashion. So now we're a little bit higher up here. Let's get putting this thing back together. This was a messy, like, way to take this thing apart. I didn't even really, like, show you guys the right way, but you guys can see, just take the whole thing apart and then reassemble is probably easiest anyways. So what you can do, like one thing that you can fasten this to this first, is you could start with the clip, because the clip will actually screw on to the liner. Now, initial thoughts, I'm a little worried about these clips, the clip screws reaching through, and my initial impressions are correct. They don't. There's no pocket clip for this guy. I'll find some longer screws somewhere, I'm sure. So let's continue along here. That's not good. Something I would have loved to know ahead of time. All right, so let's do this. And here's that one screw. Here's this guy. Kind of push this guy through. And then this guy. That's cool. These are nicely cut. Everything goes through nicely. So then I'm just gonna screw these little barrel spacers on there. That's actually what's threaded. All right, this side's coming together. This, you can see right here is keyed. And the pivot is gonna have a flat side to match. So it prevents it from being a free spinning pivot, which is kind of cool. So then you could see, once we get through here, there we go, got it through. All right, so we got this side all kind of prepped and everything. Next thing I'm going to do, I want to keep the orientation of the little washer in the same direction here. We'll put that on. I'm not going to add any lubricant or anything like that. The knife was running just fine as is. So it's kind of a brand new knife anyways. All right. So let's put the pivot in there just a little bit. See if it can hold on to this thing a little bit. Just want it to thread just to hold it together a little bit. All right. Next, I'm going to dress the barrel spacers. I'm going to start from the back to kind of line this thing up correctly. All right. All right. All right. Now, fix the pivot here. This thing's looking pretty fresh. All right. It's very important to look at the top of the liners to make sure that top part looks kind of like evenly gapped, because if this didn't key in all the way on both liners, you're gonna have problems. But you'll know. If it feels smooth, you did it right. All right, next upgrade. Ooh, I'm very excited about this one. Give it a little piece of bling. I'll actually use the factory one. Okay. Nice. That looks sweet. That actually matches really well. Yeah, I dig this a lot. So if I ever go down south of the cartel area, I know how to protect myself. I'll just carry my Elvia. The only bummer is I'm gonna have to find some longer screws to put the clip in, because unfortunately, I'm gonna try again one more time just in case it was just me, but pretty sure I got nothing, not even a little, yeah, no thread. So I guess other than that, these Kahless Customs scales are phenomenal. They feel great in the hand. They are awesome. I really, really dig these. But I wish I would have known I had to get some longer clip screws. That would have been nice to know. Other than that, these get like a 2 thumbs up. So what do you guys think about the Super Elvia's new configuration? I really dig this thing, actually. And I think I'm going to keep all the parts, the little extra stuff here, right here in the bag. Extra thumb disc. In case I ever decide to sell this bad boy, somebody can have all the original parts too. I always do that. So for now, this is gonna do it, guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed this build video, guys. I know I really dig this thing. And make sure you subscribe, make sure you like the channel, make sure you leave comments down below, as those are always welcomed. And this is Alex from the Watch and Cut channel, out for the evening.